Now that we have learned all the tools of precision drafting, we are going to do a little practice together to make this arrow shape right here. So we're going to start the model right here as it says at -11, 0, and we're going to work our way around the arrow. So I'm going to do this all with the polyline tool. I'm going to grab the polyline tool right here, and when it says start of polyline, I'm going to plot the point -11, 0, an absolute coordinate. Now I'm going to work down and to the left and around the bottom half of this. So I don't know the exact length of this line right here. I do know it's 2 units over in the negative direction and 2 units down in the negative direction. So I'm going to use relative coordinates. R, -2 in the x, comma, -2 in the y. Enter. And I have plotted the first point in this corner. Now I know the next line is 8 units long and it is straight 90 degrees to the right. So I'm going to constrain the length. I'm going to type in an 8 and enter, and I'm going to hold the shift key down to go 90 degrees to the right. I'm now going to be going over 1, and I also know I'm going up 1. So again, I can use relative coordinates to do that. R in the command line, 1, comma, 1. Enter. And I have reached this point on the arrow. I now have a straight line, 11 units long, directly to the right. So I'm going to constrain the length to 11 by typing in 11 and enter. And I've constrained the length to 11. I'm going to hold the shift key down to go 90 degrees to the right and click. And now I'm going 1 unit directly down, so I will constrain the length to 1, enter, and hold my shift key straight down. And I have one more line to do. Again, I do not know the length of this line right here, but I do know relative to this point, I'm going 6 units in the right in the x and 2 units in the y. So I'm going to plot that using relative coordinates. R, 6, comma, 2, enter. And I have plotted the bottom half of the arrow. And I'm going to hit enter to end that command. And you can see I now have the bottom half of my arrow. Because this arrow is symmetric, we can use a tool that I'm going to introduce called mirror to make this other half of the arrow. So I am going to select this half of the arrow. In the command line, I'm going to type mirror, and I can select that mirror command from the list, and it will ask me where the start of my mirror plane is. So I'm going to make sure I have object snap on with my end box checked. And I'm going to start my mirror plane right here, and I'm going to now be asked for the end of my mirror plane, and I'm going to snap there, and that is the end of my mirror plane. And now I have this symmetric other half of the arrow. I am going to hold down the shift key to select both of these at the same time, and I will select this join key to join them together. And I now have one solid arrow. With the arrow selected, I am going to come to the Perspective tab, and we're going to do something in 3D space. Remember, if I right click and drag, I can orbit around, and we are going to turn this arrow into a 3D arrow using a command called extrude curve. So in the command line, I'm going to type in XTRUDE, and I'm going to select the extrude CRV or extrude curve option. Now you can see we're going to be extruding this as a solid. In your command line, make sure that this option right here that says solid equals yes. If you click on it, it will change it back and forth. And then in your command line, we're going to type in a distance of 1.5 and enter. And we now have a solid arrow. If your arrow looks like this, that just means that you are looking at the wireframe view. you can come up to the upper left-hand perspective word, pull this down, and change this to shaded, and you will have a 3-dimensional solid arrow.